Welcome to the show, everybody. This is podcast episode, I believe, 7. Today we have Tyler here. He's going to be talking about his company, his success, his business, and what he does. So I'm very excited to get this going. Tyler, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. What got you started? What do you do? Let's hear it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. I grew up in Texas and I've been in sales my whole life and kind of slaved away for a bunch of different companies for many years and um kind of had an awakening at one point. I'm married, happily married with a 5-year-old daughter, and I realized that me being away from the house really isn't the greatest thing for kids growing up in households like that. So I figured starting my own company would be the best thing for my family and especially for long term, so I could spend a lot more time at home with my wife and my daughter. And I haven't looked back since. I'm very grateful I did that. I've sold cars before. I've sold RVs. Sold shit, man. Direct TV when I was a kid. Like I sold everything. I was very good at pretty much any field I put my hands on for sales. It was very natural for me. And the only thing that I just couldn't get down with is the 45, 50-hour work weeks, clocking in and out, taking 10% of the commission, while the big man's taking it all home and he's sitting back in, Cabo while I'm slaving away behind a computer. But that's just kind of the way my life rolled out. I'm grateful for the experiences. I was trained by some of the best sales guys in the nation for each of these industries, and they've taught me a lot. Um, but yeah, I ended up getting into owning my own company so I could set some really high short term goals to set my family up for success and set my business up for success, so we can kind of spend more time together. That's been my goal. I'm not really like your average roofing company owner. I'm not looking to make billions. That'd be nice, but I want to live comfortably and I want my family to be happy, and I want us to spend a lot of time together. So that's been my motivation for many years. So
Okay, that's pretty sick, man. How long have you been in business for?
I started my company last year. So this is our first full year of business.
Okay, and how has that treated you?
It's been scary. It's been stressful. I originally got into it to not work as much, but now, as an owner, I work a lot, but I'm home more, if that makes sense. I'm still working, but I'm home more. I'm present more at the house. Right now it's Saturday morning. I had no intentions on going out to the field, but sometimes you just have to do that as an owner, meet with the homeowner, make sure they're happy and putting out fires and making sure jobs look good. So, I have a PM out there right now, but um, as an owner, this is my baby, and the reality of being an owner, it's hard to find people that will take your company as serious as you take it. You have to find the right people, and it's very hard to find those people in the first year of business. So I'm still searching, man. I have a guy with me right now that I brought up from Texas, and he holds integrity. We trust each other. I know he'll do the right thing if I'm not there, which is awesome. I just need more of those guys, So, but yeah, it's been awesome, man. It's been a blessing. I'm extremely grateful I did it. For those of you that are like kind of on the fence about doing it, everybody's going to tell you don't do it. It's too much of a headache. Yeah, it's a headache. But if you look at the long term, you can kind of get out of that rat race a little bit quicker. The reality of it, there's a lot of money in roofing, and you can make it fast. So if you have goals to get into, flipping houses and real estate, which we do, and that's what we've been doing. So we want to continue to buy property and set ourselves up and sit back and make mailbox money at one point, and retire early and have this company run itself. So
I think it's interesting that you brought that up. How we, owners, you get it's like you get sold this idea early on that as a business owner, you get to relax more and it's your time and you get to decide what you do. And it's interesting because I found that when I was working for another person, I didn't care much about my time. And so I had a goal that was parallel to that belief of, oh, well, I can just do whatever I want when I start my own business. And then when I went off on my own, my goals changed because I realized that my time is now valuable and that it's not going to be a 4 hour work week as the book says. You know, it's a serious grind and you're going to have to work more than you thought you would have. When did that kind of hit you? Like was there a point where you just kind of realize, oh, I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to work. You know, before I was working 40 hours a week. Now I gotta work 60, 70. Like when did that hit you?
Right.
How did that feel?
I'd probably say 3 months in. I've always worked for somebody else, so I you don't take on a lot of the stress from the owner. Um, and there was a time when we first started where I thought I really made a mistake because um, for most of the companies that I'm with, I'm usually the number one sales guy and I make really good money. And um, and the stress isn't that much, man. I work when I need to work and that's it. Um, but the idea of it was like, okay, if I'm splitting the profits with an owner, then if I could do half the work and get the same kind of money, and that's what drew me into doing it. And it's just not the case, man. It's a lot of work, um, and the money at the beginning is not that good. It takes a while to get this thing going. I'm grateful this year we've had a good year for my first year, but and next year we're looking to triple what we did this year. But it's been I haven't worked less. That's for damn sure. If anything, I've worked more in a different sense, if that makes sense. Like I'm home more. I'm in the office more. I'm not in the field. Um, I'm worrying more about marketing and production and just kind of cash flow. But uh, it's a different kind of work. Like even this morning, man, I had every intention on being in the office with you. But I get a call this morning, and I'm out here in Denver, and there's only really one supply house that you can get materials at right now, and I had to do it. There's nobody else that's going to do it right now. I'm not going to pull a guy and have him drive an hour and a half to go pick this stuff up when I'm 15 minutes from the supply house. As an owner, I have to be efficient, and I understand like there's times where I'm going to have to do stuff that I really don't want to do. Um, but it's just the right thing to do, to take care of my guys, but also be efficient with my time. Because if I'm bottlenecking myself with stuff like this, these small little errands and so forth, production's going to slow down and we're going to lose money. So having blackout periods during the day to get my own stuff done is extremely important. I don't know that I can do this company without having blackout periods. I'm still working on that kind of schedule, and everybody has their own way of working it. But uh, it's been a learning curve, man, for sure. It's been a huge learning curve. And my hat's been off to these guys that have been in the industry for 20, 30 years. Some of these big wigs doing $500 million in residential alone. It's just, you have to have the right people in place, and you have to learn to delegate tasks and trust somebody until they fall short. And if they fall short, see where they fell short and see if you can train them. That way you're not doing as much. You can you can focus on growth. And that's what I want to focus on, is growth. But I can't focus on growth when I'm bogged down with small tasks, that I should be delegating out. So that's been the biggest learning curve, man. And trying to keep it with that kind of mindset, just listen to the guys that have been doing this for 20, 30 years that are super successful. They're on, they've figured this game out in the roofing industry, and it's not bullshit. I mean, what these guys do, the process, the standard operating procedures they have are real, and they're set there in place for a reason. And I've learned that most roofing companies don't have that. They don't have operating procedures. They don't have processes. They just kind of shoot from the hip, and they'll never be able to grow. And when I first started this company, I thought that's what I was going to be able to do, is just kind of shoot from the hip and just do what I've been doing in sales. And it's just not. I'll make less money and work more if I do that. So that's why most people say don't get in as an owner. Don't become a roofing owner. They try to talk everybody out of it. It just takes a lot of discipline, which I'm still learning, dude. I'm not the best by any means. I'm not like really good at one time. I'm still learning, but I'm listening to other people, man. That's the biggest thing. Is I'm just trying to listen to these guys that have been doing this a long time. So, if that answers your question.
No, that's good. There's actually a few things I want to talk about with what you were saying there. One thing I do want to talk about is that time and discipline factor. And I actually just recently did this for myself like a week or so ago, and it really like changed. It helped me out a lot with my work, but I set specific boundaries on my time and what I will and will not allow during those time periods. So I won't like there are certain times of the day where I don't have any meetings and I don't talk to people, and I expect my people to respect those boundaries. And if they can't, that's cool. Maybe we shouldn't be friends, but it's like
Yeah,
setting boundaries on myself on like and just not even just for other people, but myself too. That helped me a lot. Like I was able to, say, all right, these are these hours of the day where it's like this is what I'm going to be doing. And so I guess my question here is you were talking about, you have office work that you have to do at home. What does your day-to-day kind of look like as a, when you're moving that needle, when you're having those deep work blocks, what does that look like? And also, how do you prevent yourself from getting distracted, pulling out your phone, going and talking to your wife or your kids, or like
yeah.
what's your standard operating procedure for that?
Um, it's ripping my own hair out, saying, "Come on, man, get your shit together, focus. You have a few tasks to knock out, just knock it out." Um, that's one way of doing it. But having a 2 hour blackout period in the morning, and then like a 1 hour blackout period in the afternoon. I have a daughter, and I'm a my daughter is my best friend, so there's times where she comes first with that. Other fathers out there might understand that. It's just that is I've learned that it's extremely important not to put work first. Um, so I have to be flexible when it comes to my family. But I just to give you my background, man. I dropped out of high school my junior year. I got a GED, and I went straight into oil and gas. And yeah, I wasn't taught discipline or money management growing up. My family didn't have money, and my parents divorced when I was a teenager. So I just kind of I went and did my own thing for a while as a teenager, and had a lot of fun, but I didn't learn how to be a disciplined member of society. Some other people might have they're more fortunate enough to where their dad was a business owner and they taught them the ropes, and they showed them what's needed to keep your head down and stay focused and what's important. So I've kind of had to learn that on my own and just ask people questions. I've never been afraid to hit up an owner, the biggest owners in this industry, and message them on Facebook and just kind of pick their brain. I started doing that a couple of years ago, and that helped me a lot. But I've learned that everybody has their own way and their own answers from doing this stuff, man. There is no textbook. Nobody can write a book on how to own a roofing company because everybody's brain is going to work a lot differently. Same for mine. Like my brain works differently. I learn differently than others. So um, I have to learn by trial and error, and which kind of sucks because it means there's going to be mistakes that are going to happen, and I have to figure out, all right, how can we prevent that from happening? And one of the biggest ones was time management. My wife had to help me with this when we first started, and she still does now, um, holding me accountable to these blackout periods and not taking, work calls and just getting my stuff done when I need to get it done. So we don't bottleneck and slow down. It's just really important to have somebody hold you accountable and hold yourself accountable. But if you can't hold your like for me, it's hard for me to hold myself accountable because um, my priorities are like I'm a business owner and I want to make good money doing this. but I also want to go easy on myself, and be there for my family. So it's just like this double-edged sword. It's really hard to have the best of both worlds. Um, so that there's times where I really have to put my head down and say, hey, I have to get this done. I'm blocking these time periods out Monday through Friday, and hold me accountable to it, right? And then just like what you said, if my coworkers or friends can't respect that, then probably need to look at that relationship a little bit better, So
Yeah. And that's rough too. That's very rough. Like especially when you have buddies like I went to college, and when I was in college I joined a fraternity, and during that time frame, my buddies from college, they're still kind of in that same mindset. And so sometimes, you know, I'm I'm working, and to this day, it's calmed down a lot now, I'd say, for the most part, because I don't really like entertain. I don't usually like go out with them. But for a long time, they would hit me up regularly, like let's go out and get drinks, let's go out and hang out and have a good time. And that just wasn't what I wanted to do. And it was really hard to eventually have those conversations with those people and say like, man, I just can't keep doing this. And I can't keep this up. Um, but that's good, man. That's really good. I like how you said that you reach out to other roofers who have been before you and like try to pick their brain. I think that's very important. Is like picking apart other people's brains and just trying to gather as much knowledge as you can, especially because, you know, from I know you said you dropped out of high school. I dropped out of college, man. Like, and I think a lot of people get to the end of the college or high school and they think I did my learning and I'm done. I don't have to learn anymore. I think it's important, especially for business owners, to understand that you never stop learning. You always got to learn. You always got to grow, and make it happen. So I wanted to talk about. You were telling me about family and how your daughter comes before work. How do you make that? How do you draw that line? Because I know that's very important. I don't have kids myself, but I do have family and I have people that I care about. And sometimes I do catch myself maybe just being a little bit like, I got stuff to do. Like please just give me some time. Like how do you make that distinction between family time and work time? And if family time is such a priority that work time comes in the way with work time, how do you handle that?
um, that's a great question. It's difficult. I mean, I'm still learning that, and I think I just to be honest with you, man, I think most fathers are still trying to figure out how to be a father. We weren't taught this stuff in school. You don't learn it in college. Um, Nobody shows you the importance of being present in your kid's life. Um, it took a lot of spiritual, looking inside myself to figure out what's most important, right? So, like, I think most of us kind of run this rat race until the day they die, and they're absent for most of their family's life, but they think that the money is what is going to make up for it. It just doesn't. Um, so I have to be careful not to blind myself as an owner, um, with prioritizing the company over my wife and my daughter. Um, with that being said, if stuff like right now, would I rather be home with them? Yes, but I have to go to. Like, there's stuff I have to do, right? And if my daughter's crying and she needs me, she needs emotional support even at 5. It's super important that I drop what I'm doing. That comes first. So um, I'm learning that. Is it right or wrong? I don't know, and I don't think anybody out there could tell me if it's right or wrong. I don't think anybody has the right answer on how to be a father and a business owner. You just gotta just like really search deep down inside yourself and figure out what's most important. Is it the money or is it your kid? So it's a double-edged sword, man. There's no winning. You can chase the money in your company and be very successful, but then you're not as present at home. It's just the way it is. It's the world we live in, and it's unfortunate. But um, so like when I first got into this, I was like, I'm gonna do 5 really good, hardworking years in this industry, and then get out, like make my money and get out. um, and do something else, like, flip properties. But I'm starting to, I really like this. I really like being an owner. I like that I'm proud of myself for it, and that's important. Um, I wasn't given this, this was all done from scratch. I had to ask a lot of questions. So I'm proud of this. This is my baby, and I want to keep doing it. I don't know how much longer I want to do it for, but I want to keep on doing this, and then pass this on to my daughter if she wanted to do this or whatever. She can sell it. I don't care, but like I want to. I wasn't really left with anything. I didn't have you know, a trust fund, or we didn't have money for college or none of that stuff. So it made it more difficult trying to navigate life because of money, and not having money makes life very, very difficult. So when you don't have money and you're eating green beans out of a can, and lights are off, water's off, it makes life in this society very difficult. So my whole goal has been to just try to make really, really good money in a short period of time to where I can provide for them, for my daughter and her family and her grandkids and so forth, to where they don't have to struggle as much.
That's good, man.
So
That's it's good to know that you're in it for the right reasons, man. Because there's a lot of people out there that are just there for the money and just care about, other people's opinions or maybe proving someone wrong. And I think that maybe I'll be completely honest. I feel like when I started there, in a sense of like I'm just, trying to make my money and get out, like how you had said. And it wasn't until, I'd gotten into it for about a year, year and a half, and I was like, I really like doing this, and it's my baby, as you said, and I want to turn it into something. And I think it's interesting how you had the proper psychological conditioning to start, whatever that was for you. And then as time progressed, it started to slowly warp into like a more meaningful journey, like a purposeful journey. I think that's very interesting, man. I kind of want to
yeah,
talk a little
thanks.
bit
It's
about,
different.
yeah, man. Yeah, it is. It's strange how your purpose begins to. I think you have to shoot first. A lot of people don't shoot and they don't get to that that
Yeah,
point. That's
yeah, I
a,
agree with that. Yeah.
so my question is to you, man, like what is that purpose or what is that goal? Like what do you want out of the business now? I know maybe at the beginning it might have been like get the 5 years and get out. But where what do you want now? I know you talked about, creating wealth for your family, but like what's maybe give me something a bit more short term, like in the next 1 to 5 years, what are your goals? Like what do you want to see with your company?
Um, we're looking to we're looking in the next 5 years. We want to exceed 10 million in revenue per year. Um, but I guess for the company itself, I've worked for some companies that are just I've worked with a couple of companies that are awesome, and then there's some that are just shady, and they do some stuff that gives the industry a really bad name. Um, so I'm trying my best to be honest with these homeowners, and I have to be careful with my words here, but like I'm trying my best to educate the homeowners on what's going on in the industry, from what I've experienced. Not to throw out conspiracies and shit like that, but like I'm just trying to educate the homeowners to build trust. Our slogan is redefining trust in the industry, and that's easy to say, and everybody can throw that term around. But I think most people understand that this industry is saturated with some people that are very money hungry, and they would do anything for money. And so then when my guys go knock on the door, they're going to see us as the same kind of company. Um, so it's hard to, like I said, that's where it falls back into hiring the right people and going with your gut on people you hire. Um, but that's, I think, over, us trying to do 10 million in revenue a year. I think more importantly would be just hiring the right people that when they go to the homeowner's house, they're not going to lie to them. They're going to be honest with them. We're not going to fluctuate our prices just because we feel like a homeowner has extra money in their bank. Um, we really want to, I think that would change a lot for the industry if we were just rigorously honest about this industry and the process of roofs, because homeowners have no clue about roofing. Most of them don't. So it puts the homeowner, it gives us the advantage, when they don't know. It's easy to lie to them. It's easy to spike prices. It's easy to get a ton of money on a job. It's easy, sometimes easy to get 65, 70% profit on jobs sometimes. If you want to lie to a homeowner and spike it up and tell them this is the price, and they're not going to shop around. So it's super dishonest, and it's made this industry a tough one to stay in because of that. But it's also given me the motivation to say this is, we'll be around a lot longer if we do it the right way. If we're honest, we might not make as much money, but we're going to be around a lot longer. That's to me way more important, is longevity. Instead of the 5-year plan, now it's like, okay, we can make less and just do this long term and have a company that people can rely on. We can't make everybody happy, but we would like to make things right in the areas we can. I don't want to nickel and dime a homeowner. If they want something fixed, and let's get it fixed. Let's make it right. Because they'll tell their neighbors about us. They'll tell their aunts and uncles about us, right? If I nickel and dime them and I don't do the right thing and I get greedy around the job, they're not telling anybody about us, because we're just like everybody else. So we do have to figure out what's going to separate us. And it starts with hiring the right people, and training them the right way on how to treat people.
Yeah, I think I like the way that you put that, man. It's true. Like there's a lot of people, and that's not just even in the roofing industry either. A lot of industries, people are just very money hungry. Um, I guess crooks, if you will. That's kind of the term I like to use for that. Just like
Yeah.
trying to get an extra dollar from somebody, and it's unfortunate, man. That and then you have to go up against that, and
Yeah.
it's rough to combat against someone who's not really looking to help anybody. But I can tell, and for anyone that's watching too, that maybe would be in your audience, like by now I'm like I can tell you're not the type of person that's like that, and I think that's a really good quality in any business owner, any entrepreneur at all is like really helping the customer. Um, my next question is what is your biggest fear? Like, do you have a biggest fear in the company? I know it's like a little opposite direction, but I'm just curious as to like what would be your fear with the company?
First is just failure. As a this is it. Like for me and my family, this is our income. We have like a rental in Texas, but we make like no money on the rental in Texas. We want to sell the house. So like for income, because I have a lot of my family members that work with me now, and they rely on me.
Hmm.
And like my mom, my mother-in-law, um, my wife, she's stay-at-home mom. So um, my dad, he's going through some health stuff right now, but he was working for me last year as a superintendent. So a lot of the stress from that alone, it's not even the fact of me making money. It's the fact of like, I'm trying to provide for these people as well, like family members and then other people that I hire, sales guys that I hire, they rely on me. So that is a big fear of mine is not doing enough on my end to make sure we're successful. And then people, have to sell their stuff to pay their bills. And because I've been there, man, I've been very, very broke before, and it's very scary. And it's people rely on the owner, they rely on the company to help them make them successful. That's what you do when you hire them on. You tell them, hey, it's not me saying, hey, get out there and get. That's how every company I worked for is like, go out there and knock, figure it out, right? um Fortunately I did, but like, dude, 90% of the sales guys don't. When you train them that way, you throw them out to the wolves. It's feast or famine, and they do not figure it out. They work for 3 months, they generate some business for the company, and then they're out of there, which gives horrible customer service for the homeowner when you have three different sales guys showing up at the door. Um, and also, you're wasting this kid's time or this adult's time, this father's time when you hired him and said, go out there and figure it out. Um, So I've noticed some companies are actually doing like paid training now, which is awesome. That's what we do. We like to do paid training, um, and train them the right way. And training is constantly changing just because the industry is constantly changing. The door knock it was 10 years ago is not the same door knock it is today.
Yeah.
It's just not. You have to be a chameleon, and you have to kind of figure out what's going on in the world today. What do people want right now at the door? Right now, my little secret is they want somebody they can trust. Stop knocking on that door saying, I'm so and so in the neighborhood, work with your. They don't want to hear that shit, man, because everybody else is saying the same thing and they can't trust you. Um, so we've gotten to this point now where we're just like from the first 10 seconds of 10 seconds of them opening the door, we ask permission. Can I even talk? Do you want somebody at your tour right now? You Because people are going through a lot of stuff right now, man, and it's making it really hard in this industry. So we've had more success being honest and upfront with homeowners at the door, not doing the same robot pitch. I understand like you have to train guys that way, but you also have to have them like cater to their own like internal who they are as a person, and then see if that homeowner is going to trust them enough to let them inside the house or on the roof. Um, it's easier said than done, but yeah, like some people can get it. And it's not for everybody. It's just not. Door knocking is not for everybody. Even running leads is not for everybody. Talking with homeowners is not for everybody. Um, you have to kind of, yeah, it takes some practice, but yeah, we're trying to figure out what homeowners are wanting. As me as a homeowner, dude, we get door knocked all the time, and I'm just like, it's the same pitch, man. It could be pest control, roofing, fencing, staining, painting, whatever, man. It's the same pitch, which tells me that they don't have my best interest at heart when they throw me that same pitch. They just don't. It's not their fault, they're just trained to do that. That's just how they're trained to talk at the door, and they've been trained that way for 10 years. It's the same process, and it has to change. So we're trying to do that. We haven't figured it out, man, but we're trying to figure it out. So we're shifting as we go, if you will.
I love listening to cold callers and door knockers and because I mean I've done it myself. I wouldn't doubt like I've made thousands of cold calls, even maybe into like the six digit or five digits, like a lot of cold calls. And so when somebody calls me or when somebody knocks on my door, I always love to give them a listen. And I can see it like right off the bat too. I personal experience. I met someone recently who knocked on my door and I was like, "Hey man, you got, and we started talking. I was telling him, just giving him some advice. I could tell off the bat he had just started, and that's hard for new guys. It's like it didn't take me, but he said
Yeah,
4 words, and I was like, "You started last week, didn't you?" Like I just knew, and it is cool. And he was like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Bro, you just got to keep knocking doors and like perfecting your script
yeah,
as you, but getting the
yeah,
personality. You got to have that when you're in front of a door, when you're doing a cold call. If you don't come off as genuine and you just have that same pitch, that's a surefire way to get someone to hang up on you, man. And that's rough. I know that's a big skill
yeah.
gap. Right. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can do that.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a healthy fear. I think that's a healthy fear to have. I think if you got, especially if you got people to feed and like lifestyles to have happen, if things aren't going that way, then that can be rough. And I think it comes from a place of not like you're scared from what I've gathered, but it's more of just a place of like caring. Like you care so much about these people that you will take on the stress of this business in order to make sure it happens. And it's a healthy stress too, right? I think there's like two types of stress. You can either have that 9 to 5 stress or like um, the stress of being overweight and not getting in the gym and not, you know, being in good shape. You either have pain for doing the hard things or pain from not doing the hard things and then life being hard in return. And so I think you picked the right way, man, and I think that's very important for a lot of people to do. What would you say for someone who's like scared to hop in or like take that pain or accept that things are going to be hard, like what would you say to that person? Maybe someone that's looking to just start their roofing industry, like, or roofing company, like right now, today. Like, what would you say to them?
I would ask them what they have to lose. Like really think about it. Like, what do you have to lose? Everybody's going to hold on to the material stuff and the money. I'm going to hop back on this road, but yeah, everybody's going to hop on the material stuff and the money. But then when you peel the layers back, um, what's the worst that's going to happen, man? You're going to go homeless. Okay, I mean, I say that like just because I was homeless on the streets in Dallas for a while, and when I was younger, and I still had the same stress as I did when I was working 9 to 5 with money, right? So like when you put that into perspective on what is the worst that could happen, it's what you start from scratch again. Like how many times have you done that already? Maybe some people haven't. Some people are more fortunate and blessed, and I'm not in a jealous way or like an envious way of them for that. It's just some, they were set up for success a little bit better than I was, and some other people. But if you've been chasing this freedom for a long time, then what do you have to lose, man? Are you going to go broke and lose your apartment or your house? Okay, well then, what's the other option? You just suffer. You just continue to suffer and work for somebody else, and it's not the right thing to do. Paying 40% in taxes every year. So what do we got to lose at this point? That's what I would ask them. Give it a shot, man. It's awesome and it's stressful, but holy shit, it is so rewarding to look back at what you created and say, with all this, chips against all everything, it should not I should not be in the position I'm in right now. But I am. I just kept trying and kept trying and I kept failing and failing, and who knows, this company might take next year, but that's just the reality of this world we live in, man. Anything could happen to the economy, anything could happen to insurance claims and roofing. But I have to try, because what do I have to lose? As long as I have my daughter and my wife, and my family nearby, and we can live in a box. But if I have them, we're going to be okay. I'll make sure we eat. Um, Money does not define us, so give it a shot. Just shoot, man. Shoot your shot, and then you can look back, and go, I tried. It's just not for me, and then go work for somebody else again. But you never know until you try it, because everybody else is going to say, no, I ain't doing that, dude. Everybody told me not to do it. No, dude, you make too much money and work for so and so. Stay with them. Don't worry about the stress. It's just this easier, softer way that it's just like when I took a step out of it, I'm like, you guys are going to suffer for a long time. You guys are going to suffer mentally until you like at least try to shoot. But yeah, what do you have to lose? Like what? Like if you really think about it, like what? Yeah, okay, you lose your car and you lose some money and you got to start over again. Okay, it's better than the alternative, in my opinion. But not everybody's going to think that way. I'm going to get people are going to go, got an idiot for saying it, but it's just the truth of it. I've slept on park benches. I've been in homeless shelters before, so um, I'm like, I don't. If I got love in my life, and that's okay. I can have $0, have some love in my life. I'm alive. I'm blessed to be here. What do I have to lose? So it's worth a shot.
Wow, man. I think seriously, from what you've said, like you've impacted me, like with some of your story and and some of your ideas, man. It's just I really enjoyed the show. I think we definitely talked on some really good points, especially, I hope that my goal with this is to, help the guy that you were just talking about, is the guy who doesn't know what to do or when to get started, or even if it's not roofing. I think there's a lot of young men out there who have the ability to grow themselves and become better, but are weighed down by the world and instant gratification. And I think you helped get that message out. And so I really, really enjoyed what you had to say. Just to kind of go over
Thanks.
at the end of the show, what I do is I have a question from the previous guest, and then after the show, you will give me a guest for the next, or a question for the next guest. And so my question for you today
Oh,
is,
cool.
who made the biggest impact in your life, and how has it helped you today?
Man, it's been my daughter. Surprise, surprise. I know I've talked about her a lot, but she's been the biggest impact in my life. It's completely changed my life. I've my priorities have been so screwed my whole life, man. Because school doesn't teach you this stuff. Universities don't teach you this stuff. Nobody teaches you how to handle your emotions or how to love. And so that's been my biggest motivator, the biggest impact in my life, right? A lot of people have father figures that are like that. Hold on to that, like don't lose it. But like for me, it's been my daughter, 100%.
That's beautiful, man. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think you were gonna go that route. I thought you were gonna talk about like some YouTuber or some coach that you had. Like
Yeah, like
that's epic. That's really
yeah,
sweet. I like that. Well,
it's
where
yeah. Thank you.
can the audience find you, man?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Um, yeah, that's about it, man. You guys can add me on Facebook or message me if you have any questions. I'm on Instagram. Like, my wife, my daughter, and I, we like to we love music, and we go to a lot of concerts, and we always post our concerts on there. Um, but yeah, that's social media, Facebook and Instagram. That's where we like to. Oh, so yeah,
Okay, well, I'll be putting all that information in the description. So anybody who wants any of that information, go follow Tyler after the show. And that's all I have to say, man. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you for being here. And I look forward to speaking to you again, man. This is a really good show.
thanks, man.